right, everybody, welcome to another episode of the Premier Esports Academy web series. My name is Dan Himmelstein, founder and brain coach at Premier Esports Academy, and today we're going to be talking about the sixth element. However, this is episode 5, just want to make that pretty clear. We'll be talking about the sixth element of flow today. So we're building off those previous first 5, which are going to be challenge, skill balance, action awareness merging, clear goals, unambiguous feedback, and concentration on the task at hand. So if you haven't watched those videos, make sure you go back and take a look at those, because those are going to be really important. All of these build off of each other in order to either influence flow or talk about an element of flow. Now, again, flow is a state of optimal enjoyment. It's really, really beneficial for high level performance because you're just totally in the zone. You're just making all the right decisions. You're able to concentrate on the task at hand. You know the challenge is doable, and you know you have the skills to do them. So again, if you haven't watched those first 5, please do. They're very, very important and will give you some real actionable tasks to help influence the state of flow. Now, today we're going to be talking about the sense of control. Now, a sense of control is a little bit more associated with an element of flow rather than something that you can personally do to influence flow. However, it's still a very, very important piece of this puzzle in order to get the most out of our performance and in order to perform optimally during a tournament, competition, and so on. So this sense of control is knowing that you have the power to do the task at hand, and it comes on a moment-to-moment basis, and it really plays into this high-level decision-making piece that's required to play very well. So the decisions that you guys are thinking about in your mind, they're being carried out into action, and you have total control over that. So who's ever just left a game like I had absolute control over what I was doing? All the movements that I was making were correct. I wasn't making mistakes. It's a very enjoyable feeling. It's really going to promote that optimal experience that we're looking for, and help us to, overall just enjoy the performance that we're doing. If we're doing something over and over and over again on a day-to-day basis, that can get very daunting. So we have to figure out ways to make sure that we are enjoying this, and entering this state of flow is it's a great way to do that. So control is about learning that fluttering mind, that wandering mind, and fluttering emotions. It's really being able to dial in and make sure that we're trusting our training. We know that we're in the right place. We know that we have power over this competition, and that's something we often forget. So the sense of control that I keep talking about, like I said in the last video, attention's a limited capacity. If we just feel that we have all the control in the world, then our fear of failure is totally, uh, you know, disintegrated, basically. We can't feel that fear of failure if we just feel that everything is in our control. So I know I mentioned this in a previous video as well, controlling the controllables, and this is going to be my really one actionable item for you guys in this part of this series. Controlling the controllables. We have to set a plan for what we can control. Now, if we sit back and we try and control a bunch of things that we have no control over, whether it's the environment, outside relationships at the time, arguments, whatever, if we are able to set that stuff aside and say, look, I can't control that right now, I'm just not even going to worry about it, we're going to be in a much more desirable position to perform well. So controlling what's in your control. Create that action plan, set it ahead of time, and say, these are the things that will be in my power throughout a performance. This is what I need to focus on, and this is how I'm going to do it. Because, feeling like you don't have control over something, a lack of control, is often very scary, and it's not a desirable mindset to have. You want to feel like you have control, um, on a global scale, really. So not just for your particular performance, but in life, you want to feel like you have control. And things that we feel like we don't have control over, especially ones that we're constantly trying to control, will take a lot of mental energy, a lot of mental effort that will not be rewarded and will not be paid for. So when we're trying to manipulate things in our life or in our performance, make sure we're focusing on those things that we can control. And if we're putting too much time or really putting any time into controlling things that we cannot control that are out of our power, then that's going to be really frustrating. So make sure we're focusing on what can be controlled. So to give you guys a little bit of an example of the sense of control that I'm talking about, I can talk a little bit from personal experience here, and I want to talk about riptides. So, I grew up on the ocean. Some of you may have not grown up on the ocean, but riptides are definitely a big thing that people talk about. So, what am I talking about? How does this relate to sense of control? So, when you're getting stuck in a riptide, the idea is to swim parallel to the shore so that you'll eventually come out of the riptide. And everyone's first instinct is to swim towards the shore, maybe catch a wave and just try and ride it in. And personally, I've been there, but uh, that's going down the route of trying to control something that can't be controlled. If you ever want to find out something that you can't control, it's the ocean. But trying to swim into the shore is exhausting, and it's not going to yield great results because you're just going to keep getting stuck in that same riptide. So you have to swim parallel, and that's going to be that sense of control. That's the way I see it, is being able to take a step back and saying, okay, what can I control? And it's going to be swimming parallel to the shore. Now, it's a little bit of a nebulous example, but to me, it really speaks volumes to saying it's not always going with our instincts. Sometimes instinctually, we think we can control something and we think we have power over it. That swimming to the shore piece. I've swam to the shore a zillion times in my life, but in this particular instance, it wasn't possible. But again, that was my instinctual response, was to swim towards the shore. But when I finally was able to say, okay, what is the proper route to go about and do this? It was swim parallel to the shoreline, get out of the riptide, and then you can make your way in. So this whole sense of control thing is a very delicate balance. Trying to seek control and trying to make it so that you're always in control, like let's say let's say I'm starting to feel a little bit out of control of my actions. Actively trying to get back into that control is actually going to be counterintuitive, because that's going to throw your sense of flow off. Like I said, like I said in the previous video, actually, attention is a very limited capacity, so we have to make sure that we're spending it on the right things and in the right areas. So if we're attending to trying to get back into our sense of control state, then we're actually losing attention on the task at hand. So this is a very difficult balance, and this is why I don't honestly have a ton of action plans for you. It's really something to look back on, and when you achieve that state of flow, you'll probably attribute this feeling of control, like you were just totally invincible. All the actions you wanted were being executed properly. That's going to really be a reflection piece and not necessarily an active type of process. So just a note there, because like I say in all these different videos and all the parts of the flow series, the more you try and influence flow, especially in that particular moment, the less likely it is to happen, because you're not concentrated on the task at hand, you're not getting that sense of feeling, your action and your awareness, your consciousness aren't merged. So make sure we're paying attention and preparing all the right ways. Like, prepare a plan for what you can control in a given performance, lay that out, and throw away all those things that you have no control over. Don't pay any attention to them, just cut that out. And that's going to help us influence the state of flow. So with that, I'll leave you there. Again, make sure you go watch those other videos. All of these build on each other. So if you're looking to influence a state of flow, or if you're interested in a flow mindset, definitely take a look at those. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. That way you know when new content comes out. Follow me on Twitter. I put some pretty fresh content out there from time to time as well. So that's at @dhims_esports on the bottom right hand side of your screen. And we look forward to next time.